Hello, everyone, and welcome once again. I am happy to be here again. I am JT, aka the Master, and this is, as you can see in my background, For No Reason Fantasy Football. It's week 3, people. Week 3. And it's wild and woolly out there in fantasy football. Everybody's scrambling to pick up players and try to get another win heading to the end of the season, getting you closer and closer to the playoffs. You could be 0-2, 1-1, or 2-0. Hey, you can look like you have the best team and be 0-2. It happens. It's fantasy football, people. It's part skill and a lot of luck. I've always said that. It's a lot of luck. It's a long season, and as you can see, people, there's been a rash of injuries to some high-profile players. High-profile players. And don't say, I didn't tell you about some high-profile players that were going to be questionable to be able to play the whole season. Some of them, I didn't think they were going to be hurt up until this point, but they are. Hey, like I said, it's fantasy football. What are you going to do? You just pick another player. Hopefully, you put him in, and he does what you think he's going to do. If he doesn't, oh well, you got to move on to the next week. Until you get to the end of the season, and hopefully you're in a position, like I said earlier, to get into the playoffs. That's the whole key: getting into the playoffs. You get into the playoffs, anything can happen. You could be the worst team to get into the playoffs, and you can win it all. It's all according to the fantasy gods, what they're going to give you, what they're going to let you have. You get that ultimate trophy, that bragging rights of being a champion, or you get some money at the end of the season. Okay? This is what I'm going to do. I want to go into some inactives or game time decisions. I hate the game time decisions because you never know. And then you got to scramble, whether it's a late game or early game. Then you got to make decisions. That's what part of being a fantasy manager is. You got to make decisions, good or bad, and then live with them. Don't say I coulda, woulda, shoulda. Just make the decision and say, okay, I made that decision. If it's good, you learn from it. If it's bad, you learn from it. Okay? Because you never know. You could see, for example, DeAndre Hopkins. I'm just picking a name out of the hat. DeAndre Hopkins. I think he only had one to two catches, a couple targets last week. He could go off this week. And he'd be sitting on somebody's bench. Oh well, that's part of fantasy football. I've said it earlier in the season. The first week of the season, I saw someone leave points on the bench. But you know what I said? Everybody leaves points on the bench. Everybody. No, it could be a week after week, or just one particular week when one of the players on your bench happens to go off. And instead of you having them in your lineup, you have them on the bench, and you could say, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. But you made a decision. You made the best decision for your squad that you thought was the best option. Somebody goes off, you got to live with it. Quite naturally, you got to live with it because it happened. And you can't get it back. But it's a decision, okay? You never know. A minuscule player, somebody that you just have sitting on a bench, taking a bench space, can go off for whatever reason. Game script, the defense on the opposition decides to leave that player alone because they concentrate on somebody else. It happens. It happens. Okay. I've learned to live with any kind of decision I make, and whether it's good or bad. Okay. I don't say I coulda, woulda, shoulda, because it doesn't do any good. It won't do any good. Because, like I said, it's some skill and a lot of luck. Players getting hurt all over the place. You can't control that. You can give an educated guess on some name players, like I told you about CMC. Unfortunately, people are paying the price of, okay, I'm going to grab CMC since I got the first pick. I've tried to tell people, don't do that. Don't do that. And what's happening right now? CMC is on the IR. At least 4 weeks. They're saying they maybe even 6 weeks or more. He's got a tendonitis in his Achilles. That's just short of Achilles popping. You don't want to mess with that. You got to be completely healed. And that's just takes time. And maybe time you don't have. 4 weeks is about a third of the season. 6 weeks is almost half the season. Most weeks are 13 weeks for fantasy football before you get to the playoffs. 6 weeks is half the season. Okay? And then you don't know if he's going to be able to play at Christian McCaffrey level. You don't know. I try to tell you people. All I can do is give you the information. You don't want to take it, that's fine. You live and learn. You live and learn. Let's get into it. I'm not going to rant and rave right now. I'm going to rant and rave. All right. Let's talk about the 1 o'clock games first, okay? New York Giants at the Cleveland Browns, and it's just a coincidence I'm talking about that. Whatever. Nick Chubb, quite naturally, is out. Pierre Strong is out. Jack Conklin, the right tackle, is out. He's out. And you got some questionable players here. You got to pay attention to all inactives. Because on the offensive line, it affects the running game and the passing game. On the defensive side, it affects what the defense is going to be able to accomplish. So you got to pay attention to both sides, okay? You really got to get into it. You really got to understand what your fantasy teams is going to be up against, whether it's on the offensive side of the ball or against some particular defense. Giants defense is pretty good against the pass. So I would expect the Browns to run the football a lot. And if it's the problem with the offensive line, you got to see what the quarterback's going to do. Okay? I'll get into that. These are just the inactives. At Green Bay at Tennessee, Malik Willis is starting. Jordan Love is still not ready. More than likely, he plays next week. More than likely. He practiced on a limited basis, but he's not quite there, and Malik Willis is supposed to start. Josh Jacobs was limited, and Jaden Reed, is dealing with a calf. Josh Jacobs is with a back, but they're both will play. Let's go to the Tennessee Titans. Tyjae Spears is questionable, and he made it back for a full practice Friday after limited action on Thursday. You got to check and see if he's going to play or not. You got to check. Approximately 11:30 of the inactives for the 1 o'clock games come out, and about 2:30, between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, the inactives for the 4 o'clock games. So you have to make some decisions. All right? I'm going to try to help you with that. Keenan Allen is out again this week. Roma Dunze is dealing with a knee and was limited Wednesday and Thursday, but made back to full practice on Friday. He'll play and have a heavy workload with Allen out. The Colts, DeForest Buckner was placed on injury reserve and will be back at some point this season. Wide receiver Josh Downs, who was out with an ankle, practiced all week and will play. Michael Pittman popped up on the injury report Friday, which is not good, and he didn't practice. And now he's questionable. You got to pay attention. 11:30, we see who's going to play and who's not. There's an iffy on players that popped up on the injury list on Friday. That's not a good sign. Not a good sign. Let's go to Houston Texans at the Minnesota Vikings. Tight end, Brevin Jordan. He's not really the main tight end. He went on the IR this week. Joe Mixon is out. Joe Mixon is out, people. Damian Pierce won't play this week. Okay? They're down to their third running back. And I'm not sure who the third running back is, but it is what it is. J.J. Taylor, who's the backup, was elevated on Saturday. Nico Collins is dealing with a hip and a foot. He'll play. And Andy Dalton, Dalton Schultz, had a full session Friday and will play. Okay? Quite naturally, T.J. Hawkinson is not going to be playing for a bit. He's still on the PUP list. Jordan Addison has been ruled out once again. That wide receiver Justin Jefferson is dealing with a quadricep. Aaron Jones is dealing with a hip. And wide receiver Jalen Naylor practiced Friday and will play. We'll get into that soon. All right, people. A.J. Brown is out. Philadelphia at New Orleans. A.J. Brown is out. Okay. Check the others because that's the only one I have right now. A.J. Brown is out. And for the Saints, Kendre Miller is on the IR, quite naturally. Rashid Shaheed had a full session. He's good to go. He was dealing with a hip. Taysom Hill had a chest injury. He was downgraded to doubtful on Saturday. He's probably out. I'm telling you. If he got a chest injury, he's out. Okay? Let's go to another 1 o'clock game. And I'm only going to cover the 1 o'clock game because 4 o'clock games are iffy. You don't know until 2:30, 3 o'clock, somewhere around there. J.J. Shark remains on the IR. Justin Herbert is questionable with a high ankle sprain, and it's a dreaded game time decision. Okay. He didn't practice all week. That's not a good sign. And Josh Palmer, okay, didn't practice all week either. And he's listed with an elbow and calf as questionable. Hayden Hurst made it back to a full session Friday after limited work the previous 2 days. Let's go to the Steelers, who are quite naturally playing Chargers. Offensive tackle Troy Fortunu got placed on the IR with a knee injury. Quarterback Russell Wilson is questionable after he was limited all week. That calf injury must be one hell of a thing. Okay. Another 1 o'clock game. Denver Broncos at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay. Right tackle Mike McGlinchey was placed on IR. That's not a good thing. Tight end Greg Dulcich was dealing with a knee and ankle and was limited Wednesday, but practiced the rest of the week and will play. Josh Reynolds dealing with a Achilles. Now, that's not good. Okay, had full sessions Thursday and Friday and will play. People, I'm telling you right now, Josh Reynolds, if you're thinking about playing Josh Reynolds for whatever reason, don't do it. Don't do it. If he's dealing with an Achilles, it ain't healed up all week. It ain't healed up. So he's I wouldn't say walking or running on eggshells, but that's what he's doing. He's walking on eggshells. You see Achilles, you say, oh. You see an ACL, you said, oh. Okay. Any of those other injuries are, but Achilles and ACL, that's key. That's big red flags. Big red flags. Let's go to the Buccaneers, who are playing the Broncos in Tampa. Antoine Winfield is out with a foot injury. I loved Antoine Winfield. I had to cut him from my roster to make room for someone else. That defensive tackle, Vita Vea, is out with a knee. That's key. Vita Vea. And he's a very good run stopper. Rashad White was limited Wednesday and Thursday, but had a full session Friday. I wasn't too high on Rashad White this year. Still not. I mean, averaging between 2 and 3 yards a carry. Come on, man. Really? He relies heavily on his pass catching. Sterling Shepard was elevated from the practice squad. Okay, let's go to and that's all of the 1 o'clock that I'm going to go through. Check back around 2:30, 3 o'clock of the inactives for the later games. Okay, so let's get into this. Let's get into these games. What can we expect? What can we expect from these games? All right, let's go to. I'm not going to go into what took place on Thursday. You all knew what happened. Let's go to the first game, and I'm not just. This is just how it felt. New York Giants at the Cleveland Browns. Against that defense playing in Cleveland, which Cleveland does play a very good defense at home, against a suspect offense, suspect team, the defense is better than the offense, and that's with the New York Giants. Cleveland Browns offense, I think, is coming around. But the New York Giants are very bad. Very, very bad team. With a very bad quarterback. With 2 offensive weapons that I'm going to tell you to play or not to play. Devin Singletary, they're going to want to run the football because Daniel Jones is not that good. So their only other recourse, for the most part, is to run the football. Malik Neighbors is going up against Denzel Ward, and that very good secondary with a very good pass rush in Cleveland. I don't think so. If at best, Malik Neighbors is a flex. At best, he's a flex. Devin Singletary, they're going to feed him because, like I said, this is a offense that's very limited. They're going to try to feed him the ball. I'm sorry. They're going to try to feed him the ball. Okay. On the other side of the ball, at the home team, my team, Cleveland Browns. They're going to run the football. It's going to be running back by committee. I was surprised last week. I should have been, because the fact is, I thought Jerome Ford is the main character. I think he still is. But I think Deontay Foreman is going to be heavily sprinkled into this. Okay. So if I was to play them, I would play them in the flex. The Giants are not good against the run. They have a pretty good pass defense. So most people are going to think, well, Deshaun Watson and the wide receivers are going to get shut down. I don't think so. Most people say that, and it's obvious that he played horribly. I'm talking about Deshaun Watson on the first day out. But like I said, like I've been saying, you've heard me say on multiple shows, players that don't play in preseason don't have game experience, game speed experience. It takes them a while, 2, 3 games, if not more, to get up to game speed. It's quarterbacks. Look at what happened to Kirk Cousins. Look what happened to Deshaun Watson. Just to name 2, how bad they played in the first game. Because they hadn't played in the preseason. Okay? Game speed. Practice speed and game speed are totally different. Okay? And both of those players, Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson, regardless of what you think of Deshaun Watson, they played a little better. There was improved play the second game around. Second time around. Oh, anyway, that's what I'm talking about. And I expect against and I'm telling you, people, if there's an opportunity for you to get Deshaun Watson, you get Deshaun Watson. Okay, at the number 2 quarterback. Just look at his schedule. He's got the Giants. He's got the Giants. In week 5, he's got the Washington Commanders. those defenses give up good fantasy points for quarterbacks, just to name a few. And they have a favorable schedule going forward. I'm just saying, okay? Kirk Cousins, he has the same thing, favorable schedule going forward. Regardless of what happened the first week of the season, regardless, they're going to get progressively better. You may not get the Deshaun Watson of 2020 at Houston Texans, but you don't need that. You would like to have it, but you don't need it. He's got a very good team surrounding him. Running backs, wide receivers, tight end when Njoku comes back. Defense, come on, man. All we need is adequate quarterback play. You don't need to be Pat Mahomes. To be nice, but you don't need Pat Mahomes. All right, let's move on. So I would play Jerry Jeudy. He did the most with what was happening last week, and I think that passing attack, the Ken Dorsey passing attack, is going to be more lethal as the season goes on. Okay. Let's move on to Chicago at the Indianapolis Colts. I told you, people. I hate to say this. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. I don't like Caleb Williams. And up to this point, he's been a disappointment. Been a disappointment. He goes against the decent defense in the Colts and on the road. On the road. I don't have any faith in this coaching staff to coach Caleb Williams up. I told you that. People are believing in Caleb Williams. All right. You know what? This is what's going to happen. He's going to have 2, 3, 4 bad games. And the first good game he has, people are going to be screaming, I told you so, I told you so. Forgetting about the other 3 or 4 games that bad games that he had. Come on, man. Come on. Every now and then a squirrel does find a nut, okay? He's got to stack them one after the other. He hasn't done that. Okay? And he's a rookie. Okay? And he didn't play that much in the preseason. Okay? I'm just saying. DeAndre Swift, I'm not a DeAndre Swift fan, man. Come on. Really? Look for Caleb Herbert or Rashawn Johnson in the coming weeks. I'm not feeling DeAndre Swift. DJ Moore is the guy you want out of this offense. That's the only guy that I like in this offense is DJ Moore. Roma Dunze, he's got a lot of talent. But look at who's throwing the football. Look who's throwing the football. Come on, man. I don't think Caleb Williams is ready for prime time. I really don't. Let's move on the other side. I was saying this last week, and I've saying it earlier. I know he's a top 10, 15, definitely a top 20 quarterback. I know that. But that's because of his running skills. He's an inconsistent passer. He is a very inconsistent passer. And I'm talking about Anthony Richardson. Very inconsistent passer. They're going to rely on Jonathan Taylor. He's the key. Jonathan Taylor's the key. Michael Pittman, Josh Downs. Richardson likes to get the ball downfield. And last time he's gotten the ball downfield, Alex Pierce had benefited from it. But I don't think that's going to happen here. I really don't. Chicago has a decent defense. And Richardson can't be mistake prone, which he is, especially in the passing game. Let's move on to Houston at Minnesota. This is interesting. I've always liked the Minnesota offense. I've always liked the Minnesota coaching staff to be able to coach up a quarterback. I'm not surprised in what Sam Darnold is doing within this Minnesota offense. We're going to talk about the Houston Texans first, though. You play C.J. Stroud. Come on, man. He's wise before his years. Let me put it that way. He's the young quarterback, second year, but he plays like a seasoned vet. last year when he won Rookie of the Year, and this year. All right. This Minnesota defense is not that bad. They're playing Minnesota. And this is a dome team playing a dome team. Okay. I don't like Cam Akers. I never liked Cam Akers. Ever since Cam Akers had his Achilles deal, he hasn't been the same player. Okay. He has episodes. I wouldn't say episodes. He has times where, for whatever reason, 2 or 3 bad games. Then he has I'll say it again. 2 or 3 bad games, and then the fourth game or whatever, he has a good game. People shouting from the rooftops. Come on, man. He's not consistent. Not consistent. And Achilles will do that to you. Okay. Achilles injury snapped, and coming back from that over the years will do that to you. Nico Collins, you got to play. He's the man. Regardless of what you think of Stephon Diggs, to me, Stephon Diggs is touchdown dependent. To me, he's touchdown dependent. They look for him down near the end zone. That's what I think. I don't think he's going to be, especially when Tank Dell is up and running. I don't think he's going to be targeted at a consistent basis. I think he's touchdown dependent. You can play Stephon Diggs, take a shot, and you never know. I think he's the type of player that 2 or 3 bad games, and then he's going to have a really good game, and then he goes back to his 2 or 3 bad games. Inconsistent. Okay, let's move on. I can't actually give you Dalton Schultz because there's a lot of options for C.J. Stroud to throw to, and the tight end would be, to me, an afterthought in this, and that's Dalton Schultz. Let's talk about the other side. I would play Sam Darnold at home. Minnesota played at home. Aaron Jones. I like Aaron Jones in this. I like Justin Jefferson and Jalen Naylor. Absolutely. All the attention is going to go to Justin Jefferson, which is going to leave Jalen Naylor picking up some nice pieces. And I like Jalen Naylor in this option. Flex. He's definitely a good flex. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles at the New Orleans Saints. Now, we may not go a whole full hour because I just want to go over these games and I'm in and out. Okay? Philadelphia Eagles at the New Orleans Saints. This should be interesting. There's a lot of noise coming out of Philly. And justifiably so. How these Eagles are going to play on the road against the high-flying Saints. They scored 91 points in the first 2 weeks. 91 points in the first 2 weeks. Jalen Hurts better show up and show out. I do believe he can. This Saints defense is no joke. And especially when they're playing at home, it's no joke. Okay? Especially when they're playing at home. Saquon Barkley, you got to play him. Devontae Smith, there's no A.J. Brown. He's out. And Dallas Goedert. He's going to be probably the second option with Devontae Smith. Probably going to be the second option. All right, to get the ball down the field. Safe throw. Can get yards after the catch. Dallas Goedert. And if you need a tight end position, he should not be on any kinds of any people's waiver wire. He shouldn't be. On an offense like that, was supposed to I would say features the tight end, which doesn't discount the tight ends at all. Let's go to Derek Carr, then the high-flying New Orleans Saints. I can name 4 guys that I think are going to benefit, are going to benefit you in fantasy football. Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, and Rashid Shaheed. 4 guys. 4 guys, and all of them can be used in the passing game. And Philly is horrible in the passing game, horrible defending the pass. And the Saints are playing at home, and I can see Shaheed getting behind the offense, the defense, and making another big play. And they're going to get Chris Olave involved in this number one wide receivers. Let me put it this way. Number one wide receivers within the first 2 weeks that haven't shown up will show up this week for the most part. Now, I can't say every one of them, but those that did not show up in the first 2 weeks, their quarterbacks are going to make a concerted effort to get the ball to the man. Get the ball to him. They're going to get the ball to Amari Cooper. They're going to get the ball to Chris Olave. I guarantee that. Okay? Guarantee that. Let's go to the LA Chargers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Herbert's iffy. He's dealing with a high ankle sprain. Okay? They're going to run the football a lot anyway because that's what Harbaugh likes to do. That's what he likes to do, run the football. They're going to run the football a lot anyway. So, you play J.K. Dobbins. Just be aware that this guy is injury prone. How long is he going to last with a heavy workload? How long is he going to last with a heavy workload? And there's a Quentin Johnson sighting. But they're going against this defense in Pittsburgh with a rush and backside ability and defense. How much Quentin Johnson? I know that they're making a concerted effort to get Quentin Johnson started, but he has separation issues. He still has separation issues. You think that Pittsburgh doesn't realize that? Going to shut him down? This is a run game for the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to want to run the football too. You got Justin Fields who's going to run the football and get the ball, which they can against this Charger defense. I don't expect a high-scoring game. To George Pickens, and to Pat Freiermuth. I like Pat Freiermuth in this environment. I like him a lot in this environment. Young quarterback Justin Fields hasn't turned the ball over yet, which is a good sign. No fumbles, no interceptions. He hasn't turned the ball over yet. And that's what Mike Tomlin is looking for. Give me your ability and hold on to the football and don't give it to the other team. That's ideal for a quarterback. Ideal for Justin Fields to keep the starting job away from Russell Wilson. Okay? Let's move on to the Denver Broncos at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Denver is not one of those high-scoring offenses, and I don't see it here against a decent Tampa Bay defense. They're going to run. They're going to want to run the football with Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin. I say stay away from Josh Reynolds. He's dealing with Achilles. Stay away from him. They're going to try to get the ball to Courtland Sutton. You don't think Tampa Bay knows that? You don't think Tampa Bay doesn't know that? Tampa Bay is not too good against the pass, but they're very good against the run. And they're going to say, okay, Bo Nixon, you beat us. You beat us. And I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's for Denver, it's a low-scoring game. Baker Mayfield been super hot. Playing at home, I like the Baker Mayfield in this game. I like him a lot. You got Baker Mayfield, play Baker Mayfield. Rachaad White, not a big fan of Rachaad White, and I think Bucky Irvin is starting to creep into his touches. Rachaad White is very pass and touchdown dependent. He's got to get touches in the passing game to be fantasy relevant. If he doesn't, he's hot garbage. 2 and 3 yards a carry, hot garbage. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. That's fantasy gold right there against this team. Even with the defensive help in the pass defense in Denver. You got to play these. All right. Chris Godwin does his best work in the slot. Mike Evans gonna have his hands full with Patrick Surtain the second. But you got to play them. There's no that there to me. There's no brainer. Okay, no brainer. Let's move on to Green Bay at the Packers at the Tennessee Titans. Malik Willis is not him. Not him. Going to rely on the running game again. Josh Jacobs, and that's what you need. Josh Jacobs, Jalen Reed, and the pass catchers are iffy. I can't, in all honesty, say, and you know what? This will benefit you, people. This will benefit you. Know why it'll benefit you? Because you probably can grab Jalen Reed or Christian Watson on the cheap because people are losing faith in that passing game. And you offer something for either one of those wide receivers, you may be able to pick them up. Jordan Love is coming back. And he's going to get those guys involved. And if you get them on the cheap, you're going to benefit from it. On the other side, Will Levis likes to get the ball down the field when he's not doing stupid turnovers. He likes to get the ball down the field. They're going to want to run the football also. I hate to say it, but Tajay Spears is a little banged up. Tony Pollard's getting the majority of the work. You got to play Tony Pollard. They like play action, like to get the ball down the field with Calvin Ridley or DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins is a little bit more healthier. He's not now. He's going to be more involved in the offense. That's another one that you probably can get on the cheap. And Calvin really had a big week last week. Will Levis likes to get the ball down the field. Down the field with that big arm. All right, let's move on to the Carolina Panthers at the Las Vegas Raiders. Carolina Panthers benched their young quarterback. Didn't think too much of the Smurf. I'm sorry, Bryce Young. Got Andy Dalton. I don't know how much of an improvement it's going to be. Veteran leadership. It could benefit Deontay Johnson. I think it does. I think Deontay Johnson is finally going to get a decent enough of work to have a double-digit day in fantasy points. Big play wide receiver is Xavier Leggett. Alan Thielen is the short yardage guy, move the sticks type of guy. Deontay Johnson should be the man in this one. I like Deontay Johnson in this game. I really do. On the other side, they're playing at home. Gardner Minshew against the defense. Now, Carolina's defense in the passing game is better than it is against the run. And I'm telling you this, Alexander Madison has been getting decent work in the passing game and been sharing carries with Zamir White. But I tell you right now, Zamir White, if you don't do it now, you'll never do it because Carolina has been getting gassed, super gassed with running backs. This should be a Zamir White day. Okay, this should be a Zamir White Bay with play action to Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers. Rocking Brock Bowers. Rocking Brock. Yes. Tight end position, Brock Bowers. Absolutely. Another young rookie tight end that has exploded on the scene. Okay. Miami Dolphins at the Seattle Seahawks, playing in Seattle. You got Skylar Thompson throwing the football. This hurts greatly Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. But I'm telling you, people, I had a feeling last week and I didn't play him, and I should have. Jonnu Smith. He's an afterthought in a lot of tight ends, but with Skylar Thompson, I don't think he should be an afterthought. short, safe throws, move the ball down the field. Jonnu Smith. Okay. So I named Tyreek Hill because you got to play Tyreek Hill. Come on. You got him on your squad. You're not going to sit him because Skylar Thompson's there. And then he goes off for whatever reason. He goes off. You got to play him. You got to play Jaden Waddle. You're those two players you're locked into playing because they have a lot of ability, and Skylar Thompson could work wonders. And I do believe Jonnu Smith is going to go up against this defense and give you double-digit fantasy points. That's what I believe. And then you got to play on home team. Come on, man. I told you earlier. I told you before the season started that this offense was going to be opened up. Okay, that Geno is from I saw a statistic on ESPN. Geno was the 7th most accurate quarterback in the NFL. Okay, who's he have thrown to? Who's he have to throw to? I should say DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jason Smith-Njigba. You play DK Metcalf. He likes to get the ball down the field. Geno likes to get the ball down the field. He don't want to throw it short. And Tyler Lockett is very inconsistent. I like Jackson Smith-Njigba in this also. All the defensive, it's going to be rolled over to DK Metcalf. And I'm telling you, Kenneth Walker is not playing. Kenneth Walker is not going to play. And this guy, I liked him last year. I like him even more now because he's the man. Zach Charbonnet. Yes. He can run the football, and he also is the pass catcher. And Geno will get the football to Zach Charbonnet. And Miami can be run on. They can be run on. Let's move on to Arizona hosting the Detroit Lions. Oh, baby. This is probably one of the highest scoring games this week. I'm playing Jared Goff. I don't care what people say. I don't care he's on the road, but he's in a very good environment. Nice, warm environment. Okay. I'm playing Jared Goff. Arizona's defense is not that good. You play Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay. You play David Montgomery. To me, they give about the same amount of fantasy points. Most people disagree. The big name is Jahmyr Gibbs. David Montgomery is not that far behind. Okay. So everybody jumps on Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm sliding back and getting David Montgomery. I said, okay, I just need somebody to give me some decent double-digit fantasy points week in, week out. That's David Montgomery. Okay. You pay a higher price for the name Jahmyr Gibbs, but you get a better return for almost the same amount of points with David Montgomery. I'm just saying, Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown are the big play wide receivers that Jared Goff likes thrown to. Sam Laporta seems like now an afterthought. Most people haven't seen Sam Laporta go off because why? Jameson Williams, number 9, and number 14, Amon-Ra St. Brown on the Detroit Lions. On the other side of the ball, this kid's been balling out. This kid has been balling out. I'm talking about Kyler Murray, okay? I call it like I see him. Regardless of what people think, regardless of who thinks I'm hating on a player, I don't hate on a player. When I say they're playing bad, they're playing bad. When I say they're playing good, they're playing good. When I see different things in a player that says to me, this guy is going to play better, which I said last season or season before last, that I saw in Kyler Murray, he has played better since. And he's keeping it going, connecting up with Marvin Harrison, handing the ball off and tossing the ball to James Conner, and feeding Trey McBride. You heard me. Kyler Murray, James Conner, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. Need I say more? Need I say more? Let's move on to the Baltimore Ravens at the Dallas Cowboys. You play Lamar. This Dallas Cowboys defense hasn't impressed me at all. Hasn't impressed me at all. And Jerry Jones saying this is probably the better team that he's had in a while. Come on, Jerry. What are you looking at? I like Derrick Henry in this game. Ugh. I know a lot of people say, well, you said Derrick Henry wasn't going to be all that. Well, this is one of these games where I think he can. Physical, run heavy offense in the Baltimore Ravens, and they're hungry for a win. Hungry for a win. No, two. They're hungry for a win. And they're going to do anything and everything within their power to get this win. I like Zay Flowers in this game. I don't think Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely. I think they cancel each other out. That's what I think. I think they cancel each other out. So the big players in there is Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and Zay Flowers. Okay, let's move on to Dak Prescott. You got to play him. There's a pass-happy offense. Likes to throw to his main guy, which is CeeDee Lamb, and I think these guys are going to be able to eat playing at home. I mean, they got whomped at home last week. They don't want it to happen again this week. They're starving for a decent win. They're starving. This is going to be a very good game. This should be a very good game, and they're going to starve for a win. Or there's going to be, I wouldn't say hell to pay, but fans, including the front office, Jerry, are going to be very upset if the Cowboys don't come out and win. Both teams are going to play like this is desperation time. We need to get a win. It should be a very good game. And I expect the stars of each team to show up and show out. That's CeeDee Lamb. That's Dak Prescott. I don't like any other play besides that. Maybe Brandon Cooks. Maybe Brandon Cooks in the flex. Maybe. If you're desperate, maybe. But the two main characters is CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. Let's move on to San Francisco at the 49ers. Banged up 49ers. I said one of the things I didn't like about the 49ers this year was they were healthy last year. For the most part, they were all healthy last year. Well, look what's going on now. You got now Debo's hurt, and Christian McCaffrey's been hurt. Two main characters, and George Kittle. Okay. Do I tell you to play Brock Purdy? 2-quarterback league, you play Brock Purdy. 2-quarterback league. I can't say you play Brock Purdy against this Ram defense, even though the Ram defense is not the same as an Aaron Donald left, and they can be passed on. You got to play Brandon Ayuk. And the sleeper here is Jawan Jennings. You don't have Deebo Samuel. Jawan Jennings has been a capable wide receiver in here. You got to play him. Okay? On the other side of the ball, they're playing in L.A. These are division rivals. You would think Matthew Stafford will come up, will show up. Okay? They're 0-2. If I'm not mistaken, they're 0-2. So you think they would have desperation written all over their face. And I'm not really a big fan of this guy. Some people are. I'm not. Kyron Williams. They don't have the main pass catchers they started off with this season. It's DeMarcus Robinson and Tyler Johnson with a little sprinkle of Whittingham. Or Whittington, I should say. All right? Let's move on to the night game, which should be another good game. Okay? Which good offenses and good defenses going against Kansas City at Atlanta. In Atlanta. You got to play Pat Mahomes. You ain't got no choice. Pat Mahomes playing in a controlled environment. Come on, man. Really? You play Pat Mahomes. You play Rasheed Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Travis Kelce. I do not like Samaje Perine or Carson Steele. They don't have the juice as Isaiah Pacheco has. Isaiah Pacheco has, along with his tenacious running, he has the speed behind it. These two guys do not. They're plotters. In this offense, you can't have plotters. You can't. Even when they catch the football, they're not going to be making big plays. I like the pass catchers. Rice, Worthy, Kelsey. That's what I think this is going to be. Light them up. Let's get the ball down the field. Kirk Cousins, you got to play Kirk Cousins. I know this is a good Kansas City defense, but Kirk Cousins showed me something last week. Even though Philly more or less gave that away, Kirk Cousins took advantage when he needed to. I like Kirk Cousins in this. I like Bijan Robinson in this. I like Drake London in this. And I like Kirk Cousins when all else fails and he's got to get rid of the ball quickly. Kyle Pitts. Okay? That's what I got to say. And let's go to the 2 Monday night games. 2 Monday night games. Man, really. Jacksonville at the Buffalo Bills. I'm not I don't think Trevor Lawrence does well in this. I can't tell you to play Trevor Lawrence. I know some people will. But to me, Trevor Lawrence on the road, not a good look. Not a good look. I think they're going to try to run the football, play conservative, try to keep the ball away from the Buffalo Bills. That's a Travis Etienne type of game. That's a Gabe Davis type of game. Maybe a Brian Thomas. I mean, he's been hyped up for over the last 2 weeks because of what he's done. But I don't think he does that on the road here. I'm talking about Brian Thomas. With the Buffalo Bills playing at home, you got to play Josh Allen. You play James Cook. They want to run the football. And the main pass catcher for the Buffalo Bills is the Khalil Shakir. Main pass catcher. Okay. It's Khalil. Okay. I don't like Keenan Coleman. Keenan Coleman has got Quentin Johnson disease from the Chargers. Separation skills. Separation. That's what the problem is. He may get double digits, but he's going to barely, in my opinion, get double digits in this game. All right? Let's go to Washington Commanders at the Cincinnati Bengals. You got to play Jaden Daniels. I love this kid. He can run and pass the football. And I think he can do it against the Cincinnati defense, even though it's in Cincinnati. I love Brian Robinson Jr. I think he's a low flex play in this. I can't tell you all these players. Any other players in? No, I can't. Because I think they're going to make a concerted effort to get the ball to Terry McLaurin. I said before, and I'll say it again, pass catchers that have not, especially wide receivers, are supposed to be the number one wide receivers, that haven't shown up and shown out the first 2 weeks, these quarterbacks are going to make a concerted effort to get the ball to those guys. And I think that's what they're going to do with Terry McLaurin. So, in my opinion, most people have low expectations for Terry and McLaurin. I don't. I like Terry McLaurin in this game. On the other side, Washington, they're horrible and allowing fantasy points against the for the quarterback and wide receiver, pass catchers. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, And yes, coming back, T. Higgins. Okay. Zach Moss is going to run the football. I'm not a Zach Moss fan. I don't think he does a lot in this game. I think it's the pass catcher and pass thrower in this game. That's what I think. Can't think anything else. And with that being said, people, I just want to say I want to thank you for listening. See you next week, week 4. Fantasy season is going quickly, and I don't know what to tell you. Enjoy the rest of the week. Good luck. Get that win. See ya.